Hello and welcome to PlumTree Events Presents the Montana Vendor Series. And today, hosted by me, Erica Sherrick with PlumTree Events. And today we have our very own Mae Foresta with, wait, I got to do this, Night Owl Imagery. Hi, Mae.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good. You being healthy and safe and all that stuff during this whole pandemic thing?
Well, relatively speaking.
Okay, good. So what we're going to do is I've been kind of going through the Knot, because that seems to be the place where most couples go to get their information. And we've got some questions that we're going to run through so that you know a little bit more about Mae here and how she works. So before we get started, I'm going to do some just little kind of, how long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been shooting professionally for probably close to 15 years now, but I've been actively involved in the wedding industry for about 10 or so, maybe a little bit longer because time is meaningless. But I've been operating under Night Owl Imagery for about 8 or 9 years, so I've been doing this for a long time.
And what is your favorite thing about doing weddings?
I think my favorite thing about doing weddings is probably just the challenge of it. I love that every time you go to a wedding, there's something new, there's variables that you can't predict. And so even though there's a set course for the day, you never really know what's going to get thrown at you, whether it's a new venue or weather or just whatever. I really enjoy the unpredictable challenge of it. So
I remember doing a wedding with you, and we had some timeline things because private celebrations kind of went a little longer than expected. So we had to kind of push everything back. Do you get stressed when that kind of stuff happens? Because we know that couples, they get caught up partying with their tribe and doing all their stuff, and then the next thing you know, we're an hour behind doing all those pre-ceremony shots. So how do you deal with that?
Well, I try not to let it really bother me too much because I like to tell people my timeline is more of a guideline than a timeline, because it's an event. You're excited. There's adrenaline, there's emotion. All your friends and family are there that you haven't seen in a long time. You want to visit and catch up. Ultimately, you're at a big party. So I don't really expect my couples to follow this very tight, strict schedule. So when things go off course, it's okay. I just make a note of it. If, I buffer the timeline anyways to include some of that extra time for chatting or finding someone or just wandering off or doing whatever you want because it's your wedding. So I try to include some of that buffer time to begin with. But if there's important moments that get set back, like family group photos, we didn't get them all, or we want the golden hour, but now first dance is running a little late. It's pretty easy to just approach the bride and groom and be like, listen, this is what we have on your list as what's important. This is how we can still wiggle it around and make it work for your timeline. Do you want to trim the fat? Do you want to add some extra time? Do you just want to see how it plays out? Either way, I'm confident that we'll get all the shots. Maybe the light might be different or we'll have to go to a different location, but we'll get all those shots. So I'm never too worried about it. Also, that helps with having a wedding planner. You can help kind of coordinate and rearrange a few things. Or if I'm the lone wolf out there, then I kind of turn into the coordinator sometimes. So I'll just communicate with the DJ if they have one, and we'll just kind of make sure we're on the same page for announcements or flow of stuff, make sure the food isn't going to get cold. And we just all kind of work together as a team. So I think that also goes back to why it's helpful to hire someone that's been in the industry so long that you actually have a network and a crew. So you're used to communicating with these people. You're used to troubleshooting when things don't go as planned. And everybody's just really good at communicating and making your day work. Because we've done it a bunch and you've only done it once or twice maybe.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get into some of these questions. So what styles do you specialize in?
Well, I'd say I definitely try to aim more for a photojournalistic or documentary style for the most part. However, understanding that it's a wedding and that there are important pictures that you want that can't just be candid photos. You know, you're going to want a picture with your grandmas and your family and your siblings. So I always set aside a little bit of time to do those more kind of posed formal photos. But then other than that, for the most of the day, I just, you know, fly on the wall. I just sit back, let things unfold, and just kind of document things as they happen, because you're going to get more natural emotion. Things are going to feel more relaxed. And I know even personally, whenever I'm having pictures done for myself, the ones that were the unplanned ones, the candid ones where, you know, I was caught off guard and laughing, those are the ones where I like those the best. And those are the ones that I hang up on the wall. So I try to remember that for my clients as well. All
right. So, my gosh, how many weddings have you shot, and how many do you do in a year typically? Loaded question.
Yeah, that's a good question. 8 bazillion weddings. Actually, I guess I've never done a count, but you know, on average, I do about 12 or so a year. And I've been doing this for over 10 years. So, you know, we're at minimum of 120, 150 weddings. I've done a lot.
So, but that's just weddings, because you also do family portraits and other things.
Yeah, I do family photos almost all year round, anywhere from newborn to adults, couples. I do Easter Bunny and Santa photos. I've been doing that longer than weddings, which is a whole other conversation. But that really teaches you to think on the fly, get through things quickly. They're high stress situations and you just got to zoom through it. So I feel like it's a good off-season training to keep me in shape for weddings. Just staying with it. And I also do some real estate and stuff on the side. So I'm always pushing buttons.
So what's your favorite part of the wedding day?
I'd have to say, I think the favorite part of the wedding day is that second when, right before they announce you may kiss the bride and groom, the tension's building, everybody's in it. Like sometimes even I'm getting teary because you just can't help it. There's just so much emotion being floating around. And when they kiss and they walk back down the aisle and there's just this pure joy. I mean, it's kind of addictive, you know, you get that adrenaline rush, even though you're just the photographer. And I think that's just another reason why through all these years, I've still come to love shooting weddings, is there is an adrenaline rush and that happiness is contagious and everybody's so excited and so happy. And it's just kind of a good boost and a good pep. And it really just keeps things really fun. So I think that's probably my most favorite part, is just that moment when they kiss and they walk back down the aisle. It's fun. Exhilarating.
It is. I mean, I know I've been caught a couple times where, you know, I'll stand there and I try to stand behind everything out of the way. And then I'm just like, I get all choked up. Like when dad walks, you know, down the aisle.
Yeah, the dad walking down the aisle. That
usually, yeah. And then I'll look over at either you or another photographer that I'm working at. And, you know, you all are like trying to hold back. And I'm just like, oh God, stop. Don't cry. Don't make me do this. But it's funny how after all the years, you still get all emotional for it. I mean, people are like, oh, well, you've been to a million of these. You probably don't get, no, I think we all do kind of.
If anything, I feel like I get more emotional because now there's that anticipation of like, now you know what's coming. When I first started doing this, I was definitely a little more jaded to the whole thing, you know. I wanted to be the National Geographic photographer, but my attraction to people has never changed. I always wanted to be a photojournalist of some kind. And so just being around people and learning their stories and their background, even if it's just for one day, it's so fun. And I get so wrapped up in it that, yeah, the longer I do weddings, the more I find myself being like, oh, that was a good one.
So what time of year is your favorite to shoot? What season?
Well, for wedding season specifically, I would say early summer and early fall. Because there's still a bit of that transition to the seasons. There might be snow on the mountains, but flowers down in the valley. The golden hour comes a little earlier, so you can, you know, on smaller timelines, you can still manage to get a little bit of everything with the golden hour, and it's not, you know, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And in the fall, I love that juxtaposition of, you know, the saturated colors, the yellows and the greens that still go with whatever's blooming on the ground. I love the transitional phases and how that reflects in the photos. It just leads to more color, and more color is always better.
We love color. Do you have a favorite place around Montana that you like to shoot? Not a specific venue or anything, but just a general location.
Oh, well, for weddings, I would definitely have to say the Bitterroot. My heart lives in the Bitterroot. I grew up here, and I moved away for a big chunk of time and checked out some other valleys around Montana, but this is what I like to call my forever valley. I love this place. I've been back in the Bitterroot for about 3 years now, and it just makes my heart sing. Every time I go outside, I look at those mountains. And since we're in such a narrow little valley, any wedding that you shoot in the Bitterroot, you're guaranteed to get mountains on both sides. You're going to get, I'm pointing to this side because that's where the sunset is. I got the mountains right out there. You know, you're always guaranteed to get a good sunset. And, you know, since we are in such a narrow valley, the lighting is super predictable whatever venue you're at. You know exactly where the sun's going to be, how it's going to react to the day. And I just love the Bitterroot. The mountains are gorgeous, and I can't get enough of the Bitterroot. That's all I just love.
So do you shoot all weddings by yourself, or do you have a second shooter or somebody else that helps you?
You know, I actually rarely shoot weddings by myself. I would say 99% of the time I have either a second shooter or an assistant. In most cases, it is a second shooter because I like having that ability to be able to step back. You know, I'm a human. I'm going to need to use a bathroom. I'm going to need to shove some food in my face. So knowing that I have a second photographer there that can pick up the slack when I need it is great. It's also nice to always have two perspectives. So if we're in two different places, or, you know, bride and groom are getting ready, or the reception, whatever's going on, you can always rely on at least one photographer being there, or two of us getting two different perspectives. So I think that's really important.
Have you worked with a lot of videographers? Because do you do video or not yet?
No, I don't do video. I've considered it, but I'm a print girl. I like the still image. But I do work with videographers occasionally, and I find that to make our day go fluidly, then it usually just is a couple-minute conversation when we both get there of like, hey, what's your process for the day? What are the things that you want to do? And then we just kind of work around each other. Sometimes we'll develop like special hand signals for the day, you know, and when it comes to the ceremony time, we'll just kind of talk about a quick game plan and just be like, where are you going to be? Where's your final shot going to be? And we'll just work around each other. So just like any other vendor.
Let me think. So as far as how you work, do you require your couples to give you a shot list, or do they just say, you know, just do you?
Yeah, so I try to encourage them for the most part to think about what shots are most important. And I really try to stress that as like, you know, 5 or less shots. Think about what's really important. Say your great grandma has this hanky and it's going to be on your bouquet, you know, little things like that. I found that if I give a detailed shot list of all the shots that you could imagine and just circle the ones that are most important, everyone starts reading the list, they start circling everything, and then family photos take 45 minutes. And so I just try to encourage people, think about what you're going to frame, think about what's important to you. You probably don't need a million different variations with or without the bride and groom with different sets of family. You're probably just going to want some basic group shots and then focus more on candid. So if the bride wants it, I'll supply a shot list for them to just kind of look over and maybe pick some of their top favorites out of. But otherwise, since I've been doing this for so long, I'm really good at just saying, gather all your family up in a big pile. We'll pull out who we need. We'll be done in like 15, 20 minutes, and we'll make it simple. So if you have shots that you want me to take that are important, just let me know who those special people are or those special objects, and I'll make sure to incorporate that.
And when do they need to get any kind of shot list or, you know, kind of their wants and needs to you before the wedding?
Yeah, usually I try to aim for about a month out. Their final payment is due 2 weeks out, so worst case scenario, we'll check in then. But I find that usually at about a month out, they've had most of their details figured out. We can finalize their timeline. And then they kind of know what guests are coming to, so they'll know who to focus on in the shot list. So usually about a month out is good for all those final details.
Okay. Because I know, I will go and get with the photographer and say, okay, send me your timeline. So that, because in my world, I try to work around the photographer, because you guys are more worried about lighting and, where everything is and cloud coverage and all those things that I'm just like, okay, sure. But the sun's out, that's perfect. And Mae's like, no, it's not. So, I know that I keep trying to tell couples, and like, they want their timeline right away, but I can't finalize their timeline until I talk to the photographer. So, I usually tell them about a month out, we'll have something more concrete. But again, timelines change and things.
Right. Things change, plans change. And it's a whole other beast when I'm actually working with someone like you, where you're kind of doing a lot of the contacting. So I just tell you, and I can make up, a mock timeline months in advance. Mm-hmm. And sometimes even at my initial consults with clients, I'll make a mock timeline just so they can kind of see how their package would roll out compared to, how many hours they want or how they can stay within their budget. If I create a timeline at our initial consultation, then they'll have a good idea of how they can make it work for them, or where they can add time or take off time. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, an initial timeline will be done right away. So when I check back in at the month out point, then it's usually just a matter of like, yep, everything looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, but having a planner, obviously sometimes things will change and all of that will be ironed out a little bit sooner, just because I've got someone helping me to contact people and wrangle all the vendors together.
Yeah, because I know if I'm working with a photographer that I've worked with before, like more than once, I kind of have an idea of how you work. So I'll kind of put in, something beforehand, and then, I send it over to you just if you have any changes or whatever. And then we kind of do that. So how long usually does it take to get pictures to the couple after the wedding?
Well, I usually like to have a little sneak peek ready for them about a week after the event. I'll go through and I'll pick out maybe my 20 favorite photos from the day, and I'll get those edited and put on an online gallery right away, just so they can have something to look at and it's exciting. Mm-hmm. And fun. And then I usually have the whole gallery up within 6 to 8 weeks.
So do you edit every single picture? I mean, do you do, how do you decide which pictures to edit? Which pictures are going to be black and white? Which ones are going to stay color?
Yeah. So, obviously we have quite a few photos to cull down. Shooting digital, it's pretty easy to get a lot of pictures, maybe too many, some might say. But I do have a minimum image number in my contract, and it's based off how many hours they're getting. So they'll have at least a minimum, but I've never just hit that and stopped. If I like the photo, if it's a good moment, or if it's what I think might be something meaningful to the client, I'm going to include it. Most people usually get an extra 100 photos or so in their gallery. I'll edit, if it's blurry or whatever, obviously they're not getting those. But then I'll go through and all those final images, it's usually, around 600 final images or so. And I'll personally edit all of those images, make sure they look nice.
Oh my gosh. How long does that take? I mean, how long does it take to edit all these photos? I mean, average.
Probably too long. I struggle with being a perfectionist, which is good for my clients because I have personally approved every photo, but it also does take a bit of time. So I've definitely had to teach myself how to improve my workflow and be a little more efficient. But it's important to me. I think about it from my client's perspective of just, these are important moments. They're going to look at these pictures for the rest of their life. They're going to hand these photos down for generations. So, that's a lot of pressure. Don't fuck it up. Make it look pretty.
So do you have, you provide print albums, or how do you provide the photos to everyone?
Yeah. So, they'll definitely get the digital images. I don't. Oh yeah, look at that.
I know you can't see me right now, but this is one of Mae's books. See, it's got nice thick pages, and it's awesome. So
yeah, so in addition to my online gallery with your digital images, every package includes a print release and the digital files, so you got your pictures. But I also offer those amazing hardcover wedding albums. I custom design them. I use the colors from your wedding, little details from your wedding. I like to keep it really unique. I also offer prints and other fun things. No one's ever taken me up on the photo puzzle yet, but there's still time.
I need to do a photo puzzle. Just cause.
Why not?
Do you have any restrictions on your photos as far as having rights or how to use them or what to do or not to do?
Not so much. I mean, I definitely include a limited print release with my images, which means you will get the full resolution files. But it also means that I too retain a copyright to these photos because we're artists and we need to use our portfolio to book more clients. So I have had a couple clients that, you know, they're in the military or law enforcement, or they're just private people and they would prefer that I don't use their images after the fact for advertising or promotions or social media. So I just charge them an extra fun fee and they can purchase the full copyright to their images and then they're theirs to keep. But even if you do the basic package, you still have printing rights and you can still share and use your digital files however you want.
Okay. So do you bring your own lighting or do you rely on the places around you? I don't know. Words are hard today. I'm kind of so.
Yes, I just bring one giant light. I mount it on a hat on top of my head, and it works great. No, yes, I bring lighting with me. I prefer to use natural lighting when all possible, diffused light through windows, sunlight, nice even shade, all of those good things. But, you know, since it's an event and not a controlled environment, I understand there's going to be variables involved in that. So I bring off-camera flashes. Sometimes I'll even bring my studio lights with shoot-through umbrellas. I've got diffusers, triggers, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, you'll see me bouncing around at receptions and stuff, like putting lights on light stands and just trying to make it look good. So yeah, I always bring extra lights just in case.
And the last question we have, which is a burning question, it's very important. What do you wear to a wedding?
My birthday suit because it's a party.
I mean, obviously, I'm trying to think. I mean, you all are pretty much like everybody else. You know, black is the color of choice, it seems, or something that blends in. You know, you're not going to. I don't think, Mae, do you own anything that's like fuchsia?
Actually, I do. I do have a little fuchsia. I try not to. Funny enough, I don't own really any neutral colors. I mean, even today I've got like shit going on. I don't know if I've honestly ever worn black to a wedding. I don't know if that's like naughty, but the thing is my brand is very colorful. I'm a very colorful person. This is not a secret. If you know me or have met me in person, I'm pretty just vibrant in general. And so are my clients. The people that I attract typically have a pop of color or stuff going on. You know, I like my brides have color in their wedding dresses, or a lot of my couples aren't as traditional as some weddings can be. So I usually feel pretty comfortable just showing up. I usually show up in a nice sundress or a nice pair of pants and a shirt, but it's usually going to be pretty colorful. Not like neon colorful, but I'm probably not going to show up in black or beige.
But you're also not going to show up in a whole lot of pictures because you're kind of behind the camera.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I'm usually behind the scenes. So that usually helps, but I try not to wear anything too that's going to be so bright that it's going to reflect, because colors can reflect onto other people's skin. So, you know, even if the, you know, mother of the bride or that fun aunt is wearing, you know, something neon green, it's going to reflect on, you know, so I try to be conscious of what I'm wearing, but it's not going to be black. So,
I love the fun ant.
Yeah. Hey,
It's always the ant.
hey, I love fun ants. They keep it exciting.
All right. So share with us your contact information and your website.
Well, you can always give me a call at 867-5309. Sorry, the sarcasm is thick today.
I was going to say, oh, and I'm sitting here going, really? That's your number? No, it's not. Go ahead.
No, you can find me on my website, nightowlimagery.com. You can also find me, well, you can find my accounts on social media. I'm not terribly present on social media, but I am there as Night Owl Imagery on Facebook and Instagram. Or just shoot me an email, nightowlimagery@gmail.com. So, there's ways to find me.
All right. So if you have any other questions that Mae has not answered or you're a little bit more curious about, go ahead and shoot her an email or Google her, and I'm sure her real phone number will be on there. You can also send me an email or call me or whatever. If you'd like to reach out to me, I don't know why, but we've got a project that we should announce.
Yes.
Now that we have this opportunity.
Yeah.
So go ahead, you announce. I'll let you do it.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure. But before I make this announcement, I do just want to say one thing to any couple that's in the middle of planning a wedding or trying to plan a wedding. Even though there are a lot of variables and vendors and all that stuff, just take a deep breath and realize that we do this a lot. This is how we spend our whole summer. So don't ever hesitate to reach out. No question is too silly. And just trust in your vendors and know that you hired people that will take care of your day. So don't get all bogged up in the little tiny details. None of that's important. Just enjoy your day and your family, and we'll take care of the rest.
I concur. I'm going to go ahead and agree with everything you just said. Okay, so our big announcement
is we are starting a podcast.
Yes,
is that the announcement?
Yes, that is the announcement. Yes. So it's called The Wedding Party. And we kind of struggled over this a lot, the name. Oh my gosh, that was like a good month of discussion. But we're going to do a lot of topics, and we'll talk about like timelines and flowers and, we really get into the nitty gritty of some things. So
yeah, and we're just really excited to use it, I think, as a platform to just connect with other local vendors and just kind of have an excuse to check in with other people, learn their process, learn a little bit more about them. We're a really small community down here and in Missoula too. And I just feel the more that we can put a face to a name and just kind of learn more about the human behind the business, I just think it'll make all of us a lot stronger. And it's just super interesting to learn all this stuff, because normally you just see us running around wedding day doing stuff.
Well, and that's like, we have a lot of couples that come in from out of state, and I know I get calls and I don't meet some people until the day before the wedding, or in some cases, I've had a couple that I didn't meet until the day of the wedding. So it can be kind of nerve-wracking when you're planning this big party and this big day, and you don't know if that person on the other end is real, if they're scamming you, if they're, actually doing anything, or what's going on. So, it's also nice to know that, yes, we are real people here, and we are here for you. So
yeah,
that's our job.
Yeah. And I think that's great. And it's also, I think, a fun platform to just see the other side of us as well. Cause I am a goofball, I'm kind of sarcastic, and obviously you can't bring all of that to a wedding day. You do need to be, respectful and professional at a wedding. So it's kind of fun to let just people see the real you sometimes.
That's true. Cause I know, I know a lot of my couples think, they think I'm this very, reserved. Thank you. And I am like, not, I'm really like 12.
I think that's why we get along so well.
I'm always joking around about something. So, I mean, I don't do it at weddings and that kind of, just because it's not the time and the place, but outside of there, yeah, I'm not gonna, it's a real struggle to get through the day without being sarcastic or joking around about something. So like, you know, I think we both do that. If you don't have a sense of humor, like you really need to have a sense of humor, because
right. And I think that comes down too to just like being yourself and putting that out there, because you will attract those clients that are attracted to that. And yeah, when my clients, when we meet for the first time, if I can throw a few sarcastic jokes around and they throw them right back, then I know that we're going to have a good time, because they're going to be the ones that are, you know, teasing me on the wedding day and throwing jokes around. And I just think it just helps keep the mood elevated and relaxed. And
well, yeah. Well, because it's a thing, it should be fun. I mean, and everybody gets so, you know, tense, and everybody's so stressed out and has all this anxiety over this day of going perfect. And everybody forgets to just relax and chill out and have a good time and enjoy themselves.
Right.
So.
A wedding isn't an American Gothic photo. It's just another day. It's a day in your life, and you're going to have fun, and you're going to smile and laugh and joke, and let's just be ourselves.
Exactly. All right. So keep an eye out for more information on what did I say it was? The wedding party. Wow. I need to practice that one. And then we'll have that out. We haven't decided if we're going to just do straight podcast or if we're going to add a video component, but probably not, because there are days that, you know, we just don't want to wash our hair and get dressed. So,
yeah,
you know, if I can go a week without putting pants on, you know, I'm there. So
I'm definitely only fancy from the waist up. I've got my jams on.
Look, I brushed my hair. Okay. All right. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Mae. As always, it's a pleasure. And
yeah, thanks for having me on today. This was really fun.
And we'll have somebody on next week, I'm sure. I don't know who yet, but you know, we'll nail somebody down. Thank you all for watching, and have a fabulous day.
Bye.